Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. If today is the first time, please do subscribe, like and press the notification bell. Let's get started. The measurement requirements: hip 40, waist 28, then length 20 and your knee is 20. So the first thing to do is to put a margin on the side of your paper, 1-inch margin, and 1-inch margin on the top of the paper to put a guide because we need to draw a bust. So I'm marking it 1 inch to the length of the skirt, which is 20 inches, 1 inch on the side as a guide, as the margin, and 1 inch on the upper part of the paper, 1 inch as a margin on the upper part because we want it to have a straight line. So after marking it all along, you connect with a long ruler. Connect it with a long ruler. Connect the top part with the long ruler on the 1 inch margin, and connect the side as well with 1 inch, also with a long ruler. So the hip measurement we are using, I'm writing it out: hip 40, waist 28, the length is 20, length 20. So to get the width of the skirt you are making on the paper, half of the front, half of the back, that will be hip 40 divided by 2, which is 20 inches. So that is what we are working to get the width of the paper. We've gotten the length, which is the length of the skirt. Now the width is 20 inches, hip divided by 2. So I want to mark my 20 inches. So after marking my 20 inches, I'll come down to the end of the paper on the 20 inches as the length. Then I'll mark it across because I want it to have a perfect bust. We don't want it slanted, we want it to be a perfect line all along the bust. So I'm marking the 20 again. That's my 20 inches, the length of the skirt. Then I'm connecting it, the margin of 1 inch down to the 20 inches length of the skirt. And the next thing now is to connect it across as well to get the width on that 20 inches length. We want to get the width on that part as well. So the length is 20 inches. I'm marking it on the other hand. Then I'm getting the width as well on the down part of the paper, 20 inch, which is the hip divided by 2. So I want to connect to have a bust. Connect with a long ruler. I'm connecting this part as well, the 20 inches. So the bust, the width is just like a square because the length and the width is 20 inches. We determine the width by hip divided by 2, which is 20 inches. So I've connected it, I have my bust. Now back to what we are drafting. Now we want to get the midpoint because our skirt that we are drafting, we are not drafting the whole skirt. We are drafting half of our front, half of the back in the bust. So by the time we are folding, we'll be folding our fabric into 2 for the front, fold it into 2 for the back. Now her hip divided by 2 to get the midpoint of our 20 inches. Now that will be 20 divided by 2, which is hip divided by 4 as well. So we've gotten it, which is 10 inches. I'm marking it at the upper part of the paper and on the length, the full length of the skirt as well, 20 inches. So I want to connect it with my ruler to get the midpoint. Now when we look at what we have here, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't show what we are drafting. So the next thing is to get the hip depth of the skirt, which is 8.5. Hip depth 8.5. Mark it across on the straight line now, on the length part. So mark it across, then you connect it. Mark it across. Then we'll connect it with our ruler. Now the next thing is to put the proportion for the waist, which is, that's our hip line, which is our waist divided by 4. Our waist measurement divided by 4, waist 28, into 4 will give us 7 inches. 28 into 4 will give us 20 inches. Will give us 7 inches. With 28 divided by 4 with 28 divided by 4, which is going to be 7 inches. So we mark our 7 inches from this side, 7 inches. Then to the other part, 7 inches as well on this side. Then I'll come to the down part of the skirt, which is the knee height, because it's a pencil skirt, it's not going to be straight. So we do our knee height 34 divided by 4. Knee height for the fitting of the skirt on the top, on the down part of the skirt, is 34 divided by 4. It should be 8.5. 34 divided by 4, 8.5. 8.5. So we put our 8.5 on this side. Then on this other hand, we are doing 8.5. Now, when we look at what we have here, everything is backing each other. Your front is coming from one side and the back is coming from the other side. Now they are backing each other. They are not going this the same way. So the front is coming like it's backing the back, and the back is coming as backing the front as well. So everything has to end in the center line, which is at 10 inches that we mark. So our waist 7 inches and the knee is 8.5. So we'll connect with an hip cuff ruler. Then we'll use a straight ruler to connect the down part. Now on this part, we are doing 2 cm. They are marking the 2 cm back because we have to take it back. We don't want it shorter than the actual measurement, 2 cm or 1 inch. Then we'll connect it with a hip cuff ruler and a straight ruler as well. So you connect, mark 2 cm. Then we'll connect it with a ruler, with your hip cuff ruler. Then you do the same thing for the back. Now the next thing we're doing is we are doing our body rise, just to give it fitting, because we're not going to be putting that. We don't do that on our own pattern. So what we are doing to just give it that fitting on the front part, we don't want it to be bulging. So you take 2 cm down or 1 inch, then you mark it and use your ruler to connect it. Then you connect the front and you connect the back as well.